Yo! Draw the line Mars here. Man with the big pen and the even bigger mouth. Gonna do it up today with a little bit of holiday happiness. And today what I thought I would cover is, I thought I'd dish the sad, juicy update on the ever-growing holiday sexual harassment turkey. Gobble, gobble, gobble. Happy Turkey Day, by the way. Another day and more sexual harassment allegations. Wonderful. And so what we got is a new list of perverts here, and I'm sure they'll be joined by some more in the next 48 hours. What a great way to celebrate the holiday. Thank you, Lord, for this set of honorable politicians and our representatives and esteemed journalists who can't seem to keep their hands to themselves and their parts in their pants. Amen. The latest members of the Harassment Hall of Shame are CBS News anchor Charlie Rose and U.S. Representative John Conyers, plus a bonus. We've also got a second accuser coming forward now in the Al Franken case. There's enough significance with Franken that I've actually had to make 2 effing videos in the same week about this topic. You can check out the Franken episode on my YouTube channel. Made a lot of double standard liberals pretty grumpy at me. So the first one here, John Conyers, a fairly powerful Democrat, not necessarily Al Franken level powerful. He's a representative, not a senator. Turns out that back in 2015, he settled a lawsuit brought by one of his staffers. And let me get these turkey feathers right. Essentially, she claims he was harassing her and trying to grope her and stuff like that. I'm so glad I'm not a liberal anymore. This is kind of like sexual harassment DEFCON 2, so not full alert. In the 5 progressive levels of harassment DEFCON, there was an attempt at coercion, but he didn't he didn't rape her or anything like that. Wow, it's come to this. It's come to the point where I have to clarify that all he did was harass her, as if that's not bad enough. I suppose he's going to receive a liberal double standard cookie, right? Plus, it was an adult, so yeah, it's definitely DEFCON 2 sort of stuff. Oh, I also think that means liberals owe him a second cookie, right? Right. According to his accuser, I guess he pressured her for some time, then got bored of the pursuit and said, no happy ending for me, no happy ending for you, bye-bye, you're fired. And anyway you slice it, even though the libs will likely give him that double standard pass, he's an older dude in his 60s, so, gross and totally inappropriate. So, when a settlement like this is made, usually it's an indicator that there's some substance to the claims in a legal sense, but there's no real legal recourse beyond the settlement itself. You know what I mean? Here's what I mean, okay? Legally speaking, you can't really say, oh, but the claimant got a settlement for this case, so that means there's veracity and we should reinvestigate you. But in the court of public opinion, well, it's sort of like pleading the Fifth Amendment, I guess, so you don't incriminate yourself. You can't be compelled to give testimony, but you're basically admitting, yeah, if I give testimony, chances are pretty damn high I'll either end up in a cell or, have my pants suit off, which in this case might actually be what these pervs want. Pantslessness, I mean. It's one of those paradoxical situations where you've sort of screwed yourself in terms of public opinion by unscrewing yourself legally. You kind of cut off the head of the proverbial snake, but the body's still there stinking up the joint, right? Different story altogether if it were DEFCON 3 or DEFCON 4 stuff like actual rape or something with kids or, with some damning physical evidence like a photo or a video or something like that. Unfortunately, or fortunately, in our system, the rules are supposed to be innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Don't worry, though. Conyers' accuser was paid off for the sexual harassment suit with $27,000 in taxpayer money. Isn't that great? So much to be thankful for. Thank you, government. And moving on from that to the return of the Al Frankenstein monster. We've now got a second woman who's coming forward and saying, yeah, he grabbed me and was making sexual jokes and stuff like that. And at the same time, he has these celebrity friends like from Saturday Night Live trying to shield him from, getting kicked out of Congress. You, sir, are relieved of duty. Like I said in my previous episode about Franken, though, I don't think it's going to work. You know why? Here's why, okay? See, the problem is that attempted defense is happening at the same exact time as a second accuser is coming forward. So they're firing shots at each other in the news, and unfortunately for Franken, metaphorically speaking, he's in a stationary position because he's a high-profile senator. And, you know, any accusers that are going to come forward are kind of able to move freely, and ultimately that's going to weaken Franken and his defenders' fortification. It's a very sad game of reputational attrition, and there's no real way, in my opinion, for Franken to win it. His defenders are eventually going to weaken, and that'll be that. And the big problem for the left here is, I've seen headlines recently, stuff like, you know, the Republicans risk becoming the sexual harassment party over Judge Roy Moore. But the problem is, right now, nobody's talking about Judge Roy Moore at this point. And strategically speaking, all the talk about sex abuse allegations is actually a way bigger problem for the left. You see, for a very long time, they've cast themselves as the party that wants to protect women's rights, you know, the so-called little people who might get raped or abused or something. You know, we're the party of women's rights, we're the party of victims' rights, we're the party of reproductive rights, the party of no, you should, the party of, you know, kind of like you should be able to defend yourself in court, not with a gun. So basically the problem for them is that they're really not equipped to effectively defend themselves against these kind of allegations, like a giant Smog the Dragon-sized chink in their proverbial armor. And we had some little feathers down here, some happy little deadly assassin turkey feathers. And, you know, when they do try and defend, it's like, you know, Lena Dunham comes out and, you know, she has her spiel and now she's labeled a hipster racist or something. The only thing that they can really do is, you know, kind of cop out like Geraldo, like the Geraldo thing, and say, well, this person's my friend, so I'm not going to weigh in, or like, you know, George Takei. I'm not going to talk about George Takei, you know, we're constantly hanging out, but that's a personal thing, you know, and different. I don't want to be any part of it. Don't ask me, ask somebody else. And like with Senator Kristen Gillibrand, who's maneuvering with her comments about Bill Clinton's sex abuse scandals and the like, I think politically she refuses to defend Al Franken because she can't come out and say what she probably actually wants to say, which is something like, yeah, Al Franken could go take a flying... Forgot, I'm trying not to cuss as much. Because, you know, she knows she'd look bad given the political position of the Democratic Party. She ain't crazy. She's not going to go and defend him directly. No way, not going to happen. She knows that even though she's a woman, it won't actually help. Just like it's not going to help with the ladies at Saturday Night Live. What's going to actually end up happening is the people who are most vocal about the, you know, believe the victim, women's rights, and don't harass women kind of stuff, you know, people who tend to be most vocal about that, they're going to inevitably attack anyone, including any Democrat, regardless of their race, creed, color, or gender, if they actually attempt to defend somebody who's even merely alleged of having been sexually abusive. Let me draw my little pair of Republican and Democrat over here. A little happy donkey over here. Yeah, I'm gonna draw him. Anyways, so again, my advice to Franken and the Dems is that he just go ahead and resign already. I said it a couple days ago and I'll say it again. Al, Mabuki, don't force them to remove you from your Senate post, bro. Okay? Don't force them to write that inevitable, strong letter about what a piece of crap you are, because you know and I know that's what they're going to be compelled to do, especially now with not just one, but two allegations, and God knows how many more coming. And to be clear, I still fundamentally believe that people should be considered innocent until proven guilty, whether Democrat, like my little donkey friend, or Republican, like my little elephant friend here. Yeah, he's been working out, so he's losing weight. He's a happy little elephant with a I'm gonna put a machete in it. No, a hatchet in his hand. You know, yeah. Let me put a little machete in his hatchet in his hand. Yeah, that's nice. That'll do the trick. Problem with sexual allegations like this is pretty simple. The immediate emotional reaction is to defend the person who's been, you know, they've been attacked, basically, sexually abused or harassed. And the immediate reaction that our society has begun to have is, I think is one based on some sort of feminine phenomenon. Similar to what actually did happen in Salem, Massachusetts back in the 1600s. Something's seen as morally damning. Back then it was blasphemy and witchcraft. Today it's the mere possibility of sexual abuse. And next thing you know, there's a frenzied wave of Me Too allegations. She's a witch! She puts spells on me too! Me too! Me too! She's of the devil! Not saying most of this stuff isn't happening, okay, because I'm sure it is. But we very quickly arrive at a place of guilty until proven innocent rather than the other way around, which is how it's supposed to be. And that's the problem with the current reigning attitude of everything's offensive. Everything becomes evidence of some Russian or Nazi conspiracy, you know? There's no threshold that you have to achieve in order to show that the person's actually guilty of the allegations. You know, there's nothing you have to prove. You can simply make the claim and it automatically sticks as long as they've ever done one thing or said one thing that might seem like some sort of proof. If anyone's ever done business in Russia, if they've ever learned to speak Russian in college, if they've ever went to Moscow, even once, they're automatically a KGB agent. It's these allegations that people claim to be self-evident, but nobody even asks for any kind of evidence. Like, nobody has asked for any specific evidence in these sexual harassment cases. And that's troublesome to say the least. You know what I mean? Here's what I mean, okay? The left has spent all its time pretending to be a movement that's concerned with women's rights, children's rights, victims' rights, whereas the right has sort of been linked with, you know, they get drunk and they harass their secretaries, you know, the chauvinist 1950s kind of thing. Now we're finding out, SpaghettiOs, that it's actually more like even Steven, you know? And you got just as much of the stuff going on the left, but nobody wanted to talk about it before because who would have believed it a couple years ago, you know? Nobody would have. Sure, there were rumors on the left that, you know, some people on the left were perverted, but nobody wanted to talk about it. And by the way, I predict that there are a ton of rapacious and perverted females inside both movements as well. Remember that I said that, okay? We just haven't heard about it yet because it's not as newsworthy at the moment, right? Okay, maybe now is... yeah, anyway. You know, if it's a woman, not a greasy, chubby man who's doing it, I don't know why, but for some reason, it's somehow less wrong. Like, you know, with allegations like in schools, you know, like if some female teacher is banging young male students, people don't react the same way they do. If it was a male teacher doing the same thing to young female students, yet another double standard. Because the problem is, the message that really sends is that a young male is somehow competent enough to make decisions about sleeping with someone in a power position, but a young female just can't be trusted to make those kinds of decisions. Fact is, if it's wrong for one gender, it's got to be wrong for both genders, and it's as simple as that. And look, I will not take any further delight at the dilemma of the left, despite how tempting it is for me to crack the F up about how many of these people are being accused lately. They're mostly Democrats and liberals. They still should get their day in court. Let me add some color here at high speed for you. And then I'll just talk as it's playing, because it'll take a while to color this thing in. They shouldn't be subjected to a witch hunt, you know, lynch mob style nonsense, which is unfortunately what they've been subjecting others to. Like when they say, well, this person's a racist or this person's a bigot without any actual proof. The way I see it, there's already enough lynch mobbery going on, isn't there? I mean, my personal take is that this is almost a reaction to the liberal way of operating. It's like they've created a false narrative that's finally returning to roost and gobble them up, fork and knife in hand, as the main course of this year's holiday harassment banquet. We'll call this Turkey Bob, not Wishbone or Drumstick. Turkeys don't like those kinds of names. What was the White House thinking? It's kind of like naming a pig Bacon, or calling your pet chicken Buffalo Wing. Hey, Buffalo Wing, where are your other 6 friends? I want to get the 24-piece. Come on, White House, come on. Hey, happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and happy holidays, and of course, happy Black Friday. Good luck with that. Oh yeah, and be sure to click like or dislike if I pissed you off. I'm good at that. And subscribe to my channel, which is linked in the text and share, because, you know, I want to keep doing this for you. See you in the comments, and yes, I do try my best to respond because I love talking to you guys.